I'll tell you guys this. I just celebrated 10 years sober. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a bunch. Sometimes I'll tell people that, and they'll be like, but you smoke weed, though, right? And I'm like, sober. And they're like, so weed. I didn't quit smoking weed, though, because I had a problem with weed. I quit smoking weed because I got tired of looking for my cell phone with the flashlight on my cell phone. And I'm still a fucking addict. I'm still such an addict. It's out of control. But now I can't drink or do drugs anymore, so I just buy too many fucking jean jackets. And I'm so addicted to my cell phone. Like, it's out of control. Like, I'm so addicted to my phone that I can't even sleep with it in my bedroom at night. I have to, like, hide it in other parts of my house away from myself, because I'll just be on it until, like, 4 in the morning, and I'm not even in there doing anything nasty. Like, I'm not watching porn. Like, I'm on Pinterest. Like, I'm into lifestyle porn. I'm like, ooh, what's that sofa sectional? You nasty girl. It's crazy. The other day, my phone asked me, it was like, hey, do you want to know how much time you spent on your phone today? And I was like, hell yeah, let's fuck up my whole day right now. Let's do it. 12 hours. I spent 12 hours on my phone. I know. Do you know how fucked up it is to spend 12 hours on your phone and not make one phone call? And I tried to lie to myself, too. I was like, you know what, buddy? You did a bunch of driving today. I bet you most of that was driving. But iPhone's a fucking snitch. It tells you each individual thing you did for each second you were on that phone. Navigation, 26 minutes. Social media, 11 hours, 59 minutes. Which, if you do that math, that does mean I was texting while I was driving. And I wish I didn't, because I see other people doing it and I get fucking pissed. I'm like, look at this piece of shit over here. Look at this piece of shit on their phone. I'm gonna text my friend what a big piece of shit this guy is. I want to get rid of my phone, but the greatest invention of all times is on my phone, which is Google Maps. Google Maps is the greatest invention of all times. Yeah. And sometimes I'll say that and people will be like, well, what about Waze? Fuck Waze. Yeah, Google Maps is your friend who went to college. Waze is your drunk friend at 2 in the morning trying to give you directions. Like, you get in the car with Waze, and Waze is like, hey, I know a shortcut. It's like, do you, Waze? And he's like, yeah, follow me. You're like, all right, dude, I like this energy. Where are we going? And he's like, get on here. And you're like, dude, that's the highway and you live in this neighborhood. And he's like, get on here. You're like, all right, fuck it, I like this energy. The second you get on the highway, Waze is like, get off the highway. You're like, what, motherfucker, that's 4 lanes of traffic. We're gonna die. And he's like, get off the highway. And you're like, is this gonna save us time? Tons of time. How much time? 26 seconds. You nearly die to save half a fucking minute, cut across 4 lanes of traffic, get off, and then Waze is like, take a left here. And you're like, that's a one-way, Waze. And Waze is like, take a left here. And you're like, that's a one-way, Waze. And he's like, what are you, pussy? And you're like, fine, fuck it, I'll do it. And the second you take that left, Waze is like, you shouldn't have did that. There's a cop right there. Meanwhile, Apple Maps is in the back like, I don't know if we should be doing this one, guys. Everyone's like, shut the fuck up, Apple Maps. Nobody asked you. Nobody ever fucking asked you. Honestly, we tried to abort you, but the iPhone wouldn't let us. Speaking of abortion, is that a good transition? It blows my mind that people are trying to ban abortion right now, mostly because of the fact that no millennials can afford to have kids. None of us. Yeah. You want to know I know that? Every millennial I know is still on their parents' phone family plan. Like, if you can't afford T-Mobile, you can't afford a baby. Like, the only way millennials can afford to have kids is if 7 of us shared one, like an HBO Max pass. I was actually talking about abortion on stage recently in Texas, and this lady came up to me after the show, and she was like, I would like to talk to you about abortion. And I was like, and I cannot wait to have this conversation. And she was like, I want to tell you a story. And I was like, I would love to hear it. And she goes, well, when my mom was pregnant with me, she told me she was thinking about having an abortion, and then she didn't. And that's why I am pro-life. And I was like, you know what's interesting about that story? That's why I am not. Yeah, like, that's a terrible story. Like, I wish she wasn't here so we didn't have to hear that story. Look, we don't need that lady. You know what I mean? She tells bad stories. She's gonna ruin parties. The truth is, we don't need any more dumb people in this country. There are too many fucking dumb people. It's out of control, and we need to figure out how to get them to stop voting. Because global warming's real, and we're all gonna die of it because rednecks think windmills make you gay or something. So there needs to be some kind of test to vote in this country. And I feel like the test should just be, you gotta kiss a dude. Yeah, because if you're too homophobic to kiss a guy, I don't want you voting. And if you want a gun, you gotta blow a guy. Yeah, because then it's just women and gay dudes with guns, and you don't hear about them shooting up too many places, do you? Though if you want a shotgun, you can jerk a dude off one time. You cock a cock once, and then you get a shotgun. Though you know every time he goes to cock it, he'll just be like, I touched your dick. And if you hate that plan, you're gonna hate to hear what you gotta do for bullets. Butt stuff. Look, the real reason you can't ban abortion is because if you ban abortion, abortion isn't gonna go away. It's just gonna go underground. Which just means like the mob is gonna start running abortion. Which honestly, I am pro the Mafia running Planned Parenthood. I think that would be great. I wish that outside of every Planned Parenthood was just some chubby fat Guido in a tracksuit who looked like Joe Pesci. And then somebody showed up to protest and he was just like, hey, how about you mind your own fucking business? I actually think that would be a great slogan for Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood, mind your own fucking business. Somebody shows up to protest with their little sign and he's just like, hey buddy, I don't know when life begins, but I know when yours is gonna end if you don't get out of here. Chop, chop. Yeah. Every doctor looks like Tony Soprano. He's taking a lady back for a pap. Like, hey sweetie, right this way. Also, by the way, I got IUDs, 2 for $10. Don't tell nobody. We got the good ones too. Copper joints. We'll get one in your hooch today. Get you taken care of. Same day install. None of that coming back a week later shit. Tell them Dr. Fat Carmine said shit. And if anybody asks on the way in here what kind of business this is, you tell them it's a mind your own fucking business. I'm passionate about it because I had to have one once. I had to have an abortion. Well, not me personally, but I was on the team. You get the point. And I didn't have money to pay for it at the time. I was young. I was in my early 20s. I was scared. I was just starting out in comedy. I didn't know what the fuck to do. But then, luckily, I got hired to perform stand-up comedy at a Christian college. Yeah, because sometimes when you need God, he shows the fuck up. That made some of your assholes get real tight. You can relax. God would love that joke. He killed his only son. I also just had my first pregnancy scare when I was super young. I was way too young. I was 13 years old. Yeah, I know. I don't look like a guy who was fucking at 13. I look like a man who's still saving himself for the Lord now. 13, that's way too young. You want to know how I know it's too young? I showed up on rollerblades to find out about it. I know, I got there and she was like, you're probably going to want to take those off for this. And honest to God, first thought that went through my head when she told me was, oh, I'm definitely losing my allowance over this shit. By the way, I wasn't planning on having sex at 13. I didn't think I was like the fucking man. I didn't think that shit was possible. What happened was my parents were afraid I was already having sex. So my mom put condoms in my top drawer, told me they could be used on your wedding night, but they're there if you need them. I know, cool ass mom. I told my girlfriend and she was like, we need them. And I was like, thank you, mommy. My favorite part about that story though, isn't even the fact that I got to have sex. It means there was a day where my mom and my dad went to a CVS together. They walked down that condom aisle and they had to look at the 24-pack, the 12-pack, and the 3-pack, and they had to ask themselves, how much do we believe in this kid? Yeah, they went with a 3-pack, appropriate. But I was smart. I didn't want my parents to know I was fucking, right? So I did my own little CVS condom recon mission, and I walked down that condom aisle, and there's literally hundreds of condoms, and I'm 13. I don't know what the fuck to get. And all of a sudden, I see the ones that say Magnums, and I'm like, Magnums, that sounds cool. I was like, if these are half as good as their ice cream, this is gonna slap. So I grab the Magnums and I go to take them up front, but I'm nervous, so I get some like other shit to camouflage them in with, you know what I mean? I get like my Flintstone Chewables, peanut M&Ms. I take them up to the front and the lady starts checking me out, and all of a sudden she gets to the Magnum, she looks at the Magnum, she looks at me and just goes, yeah, these aren't for you. Yeah, and she was right, she was doing me a solid. I would have been tying the other half off as a water balloon. So, all right, that's gonna be it for me. You guys have been a ton of fun. Thanks a lot. I'm good.